My name is Tim. I'm from TFP Designs Custom Graphics. Today I'm going to show you how to install some graphics on a Yamaha YSR. So original red and white YSR right here. It's got our graphics installed on it. Kind of switching it up a little bit. On the tail section I wanted to add this number background, mainly because there was a big scratch right here and I didn't like it, so I was trying to cover it up. So I wanted to incorporate it into the factory graphic. So I did a kind of a quick job the first time just to see how it was going to come out. You can see some imperfections here because I kind of rushed the job, but I'm going to show you how to put them on real nice and smooth. You can see these other shapes on here are on real nice and smooth. Alright, I got the tail section off the bike. This side's actually worse than the other side, so I'm going to show you how to do this one. Now, if you want to take a graphic off, it's good to heat this up with a heat gun first. Let me pull that out. So take your hair dryer or your heat gun. You're just going to heat up the corner. So you want to heat up the corner there, and then you just kind of gently, with your fingernail, so you just kind of pick at the edge a little bit, just real gently, not to harm the white surface. Just enough that you can grab onto it, just like that's perfect. And then you want to peel not too hard and kind of at this angle right here. And you don't want this to tear. See, there you go. It wants to tear. So the way to keep it from tearing is to heat it up and to keep your thumb real close to the edge as you're peeling it so that it minimizes it from tear. Alright. So I want to make sure this area is nice and clean. Make sure you don't have any adhesive left over. That graphic wasn't on there very long, so it didn't leave any adhesive behind. So on this particular fairing, you can see where the original graphic had been on there a long time and where it had discolored slightly. So I can actually see where the original one was. So you know, for me that's going to be my guide because I don't want to show a color difference on my fairing here. So I'm just going to try to line this up as exact as possible with that original shape. And I'm going to hold it in place with the masking tape, and then I'm going to check it to make sure I'm in the right spot. So I can kind of see that edge right there. I'm just going to line it right up with where the original one was. Tape it down. And I'm gonna look down here, check down here and see. How do I line up? How do I line up with where that original shape was? How does it line up with the other shapes that are already on there? You want to pay attention to these gaps. You want to make sure your gaps are nice and even. I'm going to move this one just a little bit. Alright, I'm happy with that. I like how that lines up. So, the next step, take another piece of masking tape. And you're going to want to pick a spot. You know, depending on what shape you're doing, you're going to want to pick a spot where it's pretty flat. I'm going to say this bottom edge is probably my best bet. And you kind of want to make sure that this graphic is pulled nice and tight right where it'll sit when it's applied. And what this is going to do, this is going to hold it in place for me. So I know it's going to go right where I want it. Because we're going to need to get this nice and wet. You're going to take a spray bottle. And you're going to want about 1 drop of soap. 1 or 2 drops of soap in here. No more than that. Literally just dishwasher soap, a couple drops, fill it up with water, shake it up. Water bottle that size. So you're going to peel that off. You're going to want to get it nice and wet. Get that wet. Should have a lot of moisture on there. And then you're going to kind of just lightly guide this in place. We're not forcing anything right now. We're just kind of getting this shape where it needs to go. Okay. Then what we're going to do is you can see how, you know, there's a lot of extra right here, but right here it's kind of pulled tight. So I don't like that. So I'm just going to kind of move it. And this is why you got a lot of moisture right now. So you can kind of work this decal evenly onto the fairing. So what you want to kind of do is find out where that extra space is. You know, where it wants to wrinkle up like that. You know, where it's doing that. And you want to even that out around the whole decal so it's pretty as even as possible. So you don't have it all in one spot, because that's where you're going to get a crease. When you feel like you got it pretty good, you can go ahead and stick down one edge. And then I like to work this transfer tape off at this point, because this transfer tape is not nearly as pliable as this vinyl. So I'm just kind of gently remove this top layer. Now, you know, this bottom layer does want to come off with it, but I'm taking some care so that I'm separating the 2 layers. Alright. So now you got something that looks like this. Looks pretty good in the center. Doesn't look good on the edges, but we got a lot of moisture in there, and that's going to help us to work this out. And this looks pretty good. See how this is pretty even. You know, we don't have everything in one spot. Now what you want to do is start going around and look like, alright, where do I have the most kind of issue? You know, and I would say, you know, right there. It's crinkling up a lot. So I'm going to kind of work that out. Just, you know, I'm not using a lot of pressure with my finger right now. I'm just kind of guiding this vinyl where I want it to go. Now what you don't want to do is just push all this down or all this down at one time. Kind of want to take your time with this. You can see some of the moisture starting to come out. So you can see down here it's starting to look good. You know, we're starting to work it out even. We're starting to look good. So since I am looking good down here, I got some extra stuff up here. I want to make sure I'm kind of getting as much of this down here as I can that'll lay nice. Now see there, you can see where it starts to want to crease, but that's why we have the moisture in there right now, you know, so that we can work that out and we're not going to have a crease right there. This is a high performance cast vinyl. That's why it's able to do this. A lot of vinyls will not do this. At this point you can start to see where it's installed, where it's not installed yet. And you can kind of breathe easy at this point because you can tell it's going well and shouldn't have any issues with what's left here. See, when I push it down, you'll see some moisture come out. Now you may have an area, this area right here, where it doesn't seem like it ever wants to stay stuck down. Seems like there is too much moisture in there or something, but that's where the heat gun or hair dryer will come back into play. So get as far as you can without the heat gun or hair dryer. And then those last pieces is where you want to heat it up. Now what you don't want to do is make a crease. Right here we're starting to see a crease. And right here we're starting to see a little crease. And so if you get to this point and you start to see that it's starting to crease, don't shove that down flat. You want to heat that up. And then you'll want to gently, not forcefully, work that out in that direction. And then kind of squish it down. You know, this it's a high performance vinyl, so that'll flatten out. You get a little imperfection like that, you heat that up, give it a couple days, that'll be fine. Just using firm pressure here with some heat to try to flatten out these little tiny areas where we didn't do a perfect job. But that's going to be okay, because once this fully dries out, we're not going to see that. Now you may have what look like little bubbles, which is moisture that's trapped under here. And that's going to be okay. That's going to go away. You're going to see that dry out over the next few days. If you have a good amount of moisture, you can take an X-Acto blade, poke a tiny dot, rub it, you'll see a little moisture come out, and then that'll go down nice and flat. You'll never see the little hole you poked. And that's about it. That's a fresh install. You know, what I would do is let that sit. If I still see a little crease or something, I'm going to heat that up and I'm going to work it out. But for the most part, that one came out nice.